What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the More Than Philly Sports Network Sixers pregame live. It is great to be with you all tonight on Thursday, the 25th of February. It is 6:48 p.m. on the East Coast. In less than 20 minutes, Gavin, the 76ers in the Wells Fargo Center, which will have fans sooner than later. That's some breaking news for a different time. We'll be having fans in it. Very exciting. But tonight, no fans yet. Philadelphia versus Dallas. No, it's not football, but it's still exciting. As always, you're alongside my co-host, Gavin. Tony, Gavin, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Zach. Listen, I had to rep the Sixers hat. Now, my hair is a little too tall, so the hat's going to keep popping up, but I'm excited. I don't wear hats so much, but I had to bust it out for this occasion. It's a big game. All right, you got LUKA Doncic in town. Sadly, we're not there to see it. And I don't know, Chris is pointing out. Bobby's getting the start. That just came out. But, Zach, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Gavin. If you do recall, the last time the Mavericks were in town, our good friend Ethan drilling that three-pointer with LUKA around him. I know that was back in December of 2019, but that was just a cool fact to bring up LUKA, great guy on and off the court. Yeah, no, he's dangerous. He's going to be a concern tonight for Philadelphia. The injury report's still coming out as it comes out. We have 11 minutes for the official game time. We know it's going to be at 20 minutes or so we do have some time to sit here and go through some of the updates for the day. Again, the Sixers, still first in the East. They have a half game on the Brooklyn Nets. They are on thin ice. That losing streak they had on the West Coast, losing to Toronto a few nights ago before their win against Toronto, it hurt. And the Sixers can only do this for so long. We're going to start with the NBA standings before we get into the around the NBA. And, of course, we'll wrap it up with the lines for tonight, the over-unders, and then the final injury report. Gavin, are you ready to get to it?
I am.
All right, let's do it. The first seed in the East right now, of course, is the Philadelphia 76ers. It's great to see them there this far into the season, but there's some concerns. You're only a half game up. The last 5-5, one-game winning streak for you. Brooklyn, here's the concerns. 7-3 the last 10. They're on a 7-game winning streak. They're a half game back. Milwaukee is around. They're not right on our backs. The Sixers still a breathing room between the 2 and the 3 seed. But why do we want the 1 seed? Well, here's why. If the Sixers get the 1 seed, assuming everything holds true, you would play right now what looks like either the Charlotte Hornets, Chicago Bulls, or right now where it sits the Miami Heat. And then you would have to play the Pacers, worst case scenario in the second round. The Pacers will be the highest seeded team you could possibly play at the 4. I like the odds for the Sixers against the Pacers. If they fall to the 2nd seed, you'd play the Hornets, Bulls, or Heat, possibly the Raptors if they go into that 7th seed. The Knicks are also going to be in the conversation, as well as Boston. And then you'd have to play Milwaukee in the second round. Gavin, I don't know about you. I'd much rather play I'd rather not play Milwaukee. I'd rather play Indiana in the second round. The 1 seed is pivotal. It's going to make that difference to guarantee you an Eastern Conference final spot. I like the odds against Indiana. I don't love them against Milwaukee. Again, the Sixers haven't faced Milwaukee yet, which is really odd, all things considered. But at the same time, Brooklyn is the best team in the East. I will confidently say that. The power rankings came out. Brooklyn's 4, Sixers are 6, second highest team in the East, of course. But I don't know. We know that the Nets are a better team than the Sixers. It doesn't mean the Sixers can't make it to the NBA Finals if you get home court and you're able to steal a game on the road. I mean, of course, Joel Embiid's a monster inside, which we're going to talk about in a little bit because the past 2 games have been concerning. But at this point, Gavin, yes, the 1 seed's important. Yes, we're not really halfway through the season yet even, but they're only a half game up over Brooklyn. How important is that 1 seed to you?
It's important, Zach, because think about it. The road to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is the Sixers have never made it. Remember, you were a Kawhi travel and 2 bounces away from going, and then you didn't make it the year before. But, Zach, let's talk about it. The 1 seed. The teams you just named right there with New York and all those guys and all those crews. Those are teams that can't beat you 4 times in a 7-game series. Now, if you go against like a Milwaukee, they can get you. They can get you. And Zach, careful what you wish for because I know Milwaukee's coming 4 times in the second half of the season. So I don't know if you want to see them just yet. But even though Giannis,
I really don't, but I like to get a gauge at them. The fact we haven't played them yet is kind of crazy.
So it's a little concerning in the fact that we haven't really got to see the real Brooklyn versus Sixers matchup that's been anticipated, waiting for. We haven't seen that yet. But Zach,
one more game against Brooklyn, or is the series? I think the series is over. Did they play them 4 times already?
No, they only played twice.
Or 3. They played 3.
We got 2 more. We got 2 more.
All right. Well, we got more opportunities to see Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. I'd love to see it. I'm going to pull up the schedule here for the Sixers, but Gavin, continue.
Zach, the one seed is always important because one, it gives you confidence. It gives you that you are the best team in the East, and the East, not that you have you control it. Is what I'm trying to say. You control what goes through the East, and yes, you get home court. That doesn't really mean much, especially in the COVID year. But Zach, it makes the road to the finals somewhat easier, and teams like Brooklyn and Milwaukee, you won't have to face right away, where you had to run to them. It'll be in the conference finals, and you get an easier path. I don't know what's wrong with Boston, Zach. I know we're going to get to that a little bit later, but the one seed is really important, and the fact that Brooklyn, Zach, and I said this before, Brooklyn was going to catch fire. Their biggest enemy is themselves, and ball sharing and their egos. Zach, ball sharing doesn't seem to be a problem. The egos don't know about yet.
Leads the NBA in assists.
And guess what, Zach? They're doing it without James Harden. They beat your Lakers. Then they beat the Clippers. They beat the Utah Jazz. So another team in there. I think I'm missing one. Phoenix Suns was in there as well.
Bucks. They're beating the Suns.
The Phoenix Suns was in there. Well, they're on all, and they were all road games, and they beat every one of those teams. They beat the Bucks already to begin with. Excuse me. But Zach, this Brooklyn team is catching fire, and they don't even have the best player in the league, Kevin Durant, playing yet. So Zach, if you're a Sixers fan, the one seed may look pretty on record, but you're not the best team in the East. Let's just get that out the way. The best team is right behind you. And second, it's a half game. You had 2 games. You dropped one to Toronto, which really hurt, and then you come back and beat one. But they're on a 7-game win streak, Zach. You need them to lose.
Sixers lose tonight. They are tied for the 1 seed with Brooklyn. You don't have a lot of wiggle room, unfortunately. If the Sixers can go on a 4-game, 5-game winning streak here to close out to the All-Star break, that'd be ideal. It's tough, but guys are getting healthy. Seth Curry expected to play tonight. Again, final injury report coming out soon. But Gavin, let's continue with it. Around the NBA, we'll start with the shocker of the whole league. First of all, let's look at the NBA standings before we grab into that. Of course, Sixers at 1, Nets at 2. Bucks at 3, Pacers 4, Raptors catching fire at 5, the Bulls at 6. But don't be deceived, they're only 15 and 16. Hornets, again, also below 500. Miami Heat, which we expected would come up after a slow start. But let's get number 9, because, 10 down we know aren't doing too much. The Boston Celtics are 15 and 17. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They're, 3 and 7 in their last 10 games. This was a Boston team we were touting last year as the perfect team. Good point guard, good shooting guard, good small forward, good power forward, complimentary big man center. Daniel Tice, Enes Kanter, a few other pieces they had last year. They got Tristan Thompson, which I consider an upgrade this year. But, Jason Tatum's been in and out of the lineup. He struggled with COVID. He's still recovering from it. Jaylen Brown named to the All-Star game again. What's going wrong with Boston right now, Gavin? What's the issue? They're out of the playoffs. If the playoffs started today and there wasn't a play-in, Boston would be out of it.
Zach, what's going on? It's 3 simple things. I'm going to break it down for you right here. Number 1, poor building. Zach, you never had a true center. And Tristan Thompson, he's not good for much. His better days, I don't think he had better days, but Zach, his better days are behind him.
LeBron carried him.
Exactly. Not right now. Not right now. Second off, Kemba Walker is not playing fully healthy. Zach, you brought up to me earlier today, or if it wasn't you, our good friend Adam brought up to me earlier today that Kemba Walker had surgery over the, I guess you can call it off season, but over the last 2 months before the season. And Boston knew that his knee was actually going to be a real problem.
They tried to move him.
They tried to trade him without telling the teams what was really going on. It didn't work. He's still there. But Zach, the number 1 problem, and you can split it half and half, the number 1 problem is got to be Brad Stevens. He lost faith in his locker room. Zach, think about it. You go to, 2 Eastern Conference Finals and you don't advance, and you're arguably the best.
3 in 4 years, right?
Exactly.
I think that they went every year except for the Kawhi Leonard year. Since LeBron's, I think the Sixers year where they were what's his name was able to carry them, Terry Rozier. They missed it the year after that. They made it the next year, and then last year against Miami. And no, they can't get over that hump. I don't know what more you need. Losing Al Horford was big. But, yeah, I never thought of before Brad Stevens being a locker room issue. But times change, and sometimes cultures do as well. There's a possibility that Brad Stevens might be on his way out. I thought he's done a phenomenal job with Boston. He always has the upper hand against Brett Brown when he coached against him. I guess it's not that hard to do that. But coaching-wise, I see him like a Nick Nurse as far as a good strategic coach. Had a good history in college building up the program that he did. was a hot prospect coming out, and I mean, it's fanned out for the most part. But can you really blame when they lose to a team like Miami, who took down a team like Milwaukee, and they lose to the team that won the NBA Finals a couple years back? But I think for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think frankly for this team, is it simply unlucky? Is it they don't have enough pieces? I don't know. They dealt with the Kyrie drama. I think they handled it quite well. They had their most talented roster was when he went down, and they had Terry Rozier, Al Horford, Jason Tatum was up and coming. Then you got Jaylen Brown there. You lost Gordon Hayward in the offseason. They didn't really try to retain him. They swept the Sixers last year, and they lost to Miami in the conference final. I'm not sure what else there really is to add on top of that. But if it is true that there are locker room issues, you can't fix that. Doug Peterson lost the Eagles locker room. They fired him. You're not going to fix a problem once it's broken.
Well, Zach, here's the problem. When you lose Gordon Hayward, you lost his 20 points. Zach, he had a better year than the year he came back. Remember, the year he came back, he didn't look like himself. He looked a little sluggish. He looked a little out of shape. He looked a little scared. The bubble year, he came back. He had a great start to the season. The season stops, and all of a sudden it comes back. He got hurt in
the Sixer series.
Hurt in the Sixer series, but Zach, you lose a guy that was giving you 20 points, and now you have a Kemba Walker, who's arguably one of my favorite point guards. And Zach, when he was a free agent, I was all for the Sixers bringing him in and moving Ben to the 4, but no one thought about that like I did. But Zach,
they ended up signing trading him for Terry Rozier in Charlotte, and then of course they got Kemba Walker. You add Jason Tatum, who's been playing really well despite the fact that he's only 19 years old. I'm just kidding, but in all seriousness, Jason Tatum been playing very well for them. Jaylen Brown has been a pleasant surprise for them. He was a really good find. He continues both on and off the court playing really well, Jaylen Brown, that is. And then you get yourself complementary pieces at center. I don't know what more you could ask for in Boston. Perhaps it's time for a culture change. They need to make another splash. I don't know what it's going to be. But Boston's struggling right now. They really are, and they have some problems. They have to reevaluate what's going on with the team.
Zach, go back. When you look at the Boston Celtics, and you say, well, what's the problem? Last year, they only lost to 9 teams below 500. And that was all of last year, including some of the bubble games. Well, not every team was below 500. Well, in the East, they was. But, Zach, if you go look at them this year, they already lost 8. They already lost 8 games to below 500. And they just lost 2-3 straight to some tough games. Zion Williamson, LUKA Doncic with the step back. And the other games slipping my mind. But, Zach, if you look at how this team is playing, you would be like, well, what's the problem? Everybody's there.
Jason Tatum averages 25, Brown averages 25, and Kemba Walker averages 17.
But Kemba Walker's struggling. He's missing shots that he doesn't miss.
From your big 3 right there. I don't know. Look, they could be catching a bad break. Time will tell. But that's going to wrap up with Boston. We'll continue to cover it because there's a lot of interesting things. This is a team that no one expected to fall off that's sitting at the 9th seed right now.
Real quick, I got a hot take. At the end of the year, Boston will be in the playoffs. They won't do much. They'll get bounced out really early, and Brad Stevens gets fired.
We'll see if he makes it the rest of the way if some of those locker room issues are true. It's 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. Sixers getting underway quickly. Stay tuned. Hot off the presses, let's get to it, Gavin. Sixers pregame live, the official spread for the game as it's getting underway momentarily. 76ers -5. Gavin, do you expect them to cover tonight?
I do. Look, Zach, there's no Kristaps Porzingis down low. I think Joel Embiid's going to have a nice night, MVP caliber night, and Ben Simmons is going to do Ben Simmons thing. But my sleeper for the night is going to be Seth Curry. It's a revenge game. They gave him up easily. He's going to come out firing.
Same thing for Josh Richardson. Revenge games for both players. Josh Richardson had 30 points last year against Miami in his revenge game. Stay tuned to see what he can do tonight. As you point out, Kristaps Porzingis out of the lineup. And then, of course, the other big question for over bettors out there, Mavericks versus 76ers. Over-under is 229 points. That's what, a 115 to 114 game. I would bet the over tonight. Sixers tend to be a slower-paced team. Mavericks don't be, though. I think that even if the lineups go a little smaller, unlike against Toronto, I am confident that the 76ers and the Dallas Mavericks will both equally score more than 115. I think it's going to be a 125, 120 Sixers win, so I do have them covering. I also do have it being the over for any of those bettors out there. That is my suggestion for tonight.
Well, Zach, I'm taking the under. Listen, this Sixers team is going to key in on Luka Doncic, and when you don't have Kristaps Porzingis, I do like Tim Hardaway, but Tim Hardaway is an inconsistent, or excuse me, Tim Hardaway Jr. Not his dad, but Tim Hardaway Jr. is not a consistent scorer, and Luka Doncic, Zach, we see him go cold. There's no Kristaps, like I said. I'm going under. Sixers is a great defensive team. I'm going to predict a 105 to 100 win for the Sixers tonight.
All right, well, look, we'll take a look. We'll see how the 76ers can do. I think that this is a game they should win. Ben Simmons can continue to make his case for Defensive Player of the Year. The Mavericks are coming off of a very emotional game-winning buzzer beater from Luka Doncic against the Boston Celtics. I think they're going to be living on that emotion, but frankly, all good things come to an end. Sixers need a win, though. Despite the sky's not falling in Philly, I don't think anybody would say that or have that vibe right now. But there is some means for cautious urgency. They need to win this game tonight. I think that's plain and simple. In my opinion, I think that Tobias Harris should have a big night after the snub that he had in the All-Star game. I expected a bigger night from him the other night. He's quietly done his part. At the end of the day, the starting lineup, again, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, Steph Curry, and Ben Simmons, Shake Milton also playing tonight. This team is as healthy as it's been for a couple of weeks. It's been tough for them with COVID and everything going on. Seth Curry revenge game, Ben Simmons continuing to prove his case, and Joel Embiid, who has unfortunately broke his streak of 25-point-plus games. Gavin, do you think he gets back over 25 points tonight?
I do believe so, Zach. I like Boban Marjanovic, but Boban's not sticking Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's more powerful. Listen, Bobby, we love
inside. That's my suggestion.
Exactly.
Go for 40. I think Ben can go for 40. Or I'm sorry, I think Joel can go. I think Ben can go for 42, but I think Joel should be able to get 40 points tonight.
I'm thinking 35 for Joel Embiid, 35 and 15 for the big fella tonight. But Zach, I'm going 24 for Steph Curry tonight. Something about Steph Curry just has a ring to it today.
He's very overdue for it. Danny Green will get his complimentary threes. I expect to see a lot of Matisse Thybulle tonight. I expect to see less of Isaiah Joe. I don't have anything against the kid, but second round pick out of Arkansas in crunch time should not be in. Furkan Korkmaz will get his minutes back tonight after a very good game the other night against Toronto. I expect to see Korkmaz being one of the first players off the bench. I don't expect to see a lot of Mike Scott tonight. I do expect to see the Sixers run small tonight. Dwight Howard will probably not get more than 7-8 minutes. Put Ben at the 5 at some points if the Mavericks go small. If they're a team that watched the Raptors game, they know that they should go small to force Embiid out of the lineup. The Sixers are going to need to find a way to respond to that tonight because that is a coaching flaw that we continue to see, and Doc Rivers needs to figure that out because it's concerning at the moment for the Sixers. Other than that, I hope Embiid has a good night. I hope that Ben Simmons has a good night, and of course, Seth Curry, guys like that, I hope to have a very good night. So 4 minutes until tip-off on estimate, but coming up after this, our final remarks, especially including the Los Angeles Lakers on a 4-game losing streak. Yes, that makes Gavin very happy. We'll break that down before we wrap up today's pregame live, so stay tuned. We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewer's choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode. Here right now, as we are beginning to wind down some of our pregame live, again, the starting 5 is expected to play tonight for the Philadelphia 76ers. But as we do wrap up and we continue our Around the NBA segment, yes, we have to bring it up. The Los Angeles Lakers, the defending champions of the not only Western Conference, but the entire league, at 22-11 right now. They are currently at whole game over the Phoenix Suns in third. They are a game back of the Clippers and 4.5 back of the Utah Jazz, who just straight up sucked the energy out of them. They are on a 4-game losing streak at the moment.
Say that again. Say that again for me, please.
Los Angeles Lakers on a 4-game losing streak. LeBron James not having a very efficient past couple of nights, breaking down some of his stats. From this game, only 19 points with 4 assists, 4 boards, and only 28 minutes as well. They were blown out pretty early in this one. They were outscored by 15 in the second quarter. Of course, a tough overtime loss to the Washington Wizards. Close one to Miami Heat, and of course against Brooklyn. Not much means for worries if I were to be a Lakers fan. I'm not a Lakers fan, although Gavin may disagree.
I know you got the pop.
But with that being said, look, Los Angeles Lakers are in a rut. They need to figure out how to win without Anthony Davis. If they don't, they are not destined to repeat.
Where's your MVP at, Zach? You're supposed to be called MVP, The last time I checked, he's shooting 5 from 29 from 3, and that's in the last 4 games, ladies and gentlemen. He's taking now in the Brooklyn Nets game, he took 5 threes. Or excuse me. Yeah, in the Brooklyn Nets game, he took 5 threes. In the game versus and he made one of them. In the game versus the Washington Wizards, he shot 10 threes and made 2 of them. Listen, and ladies and gentlemen, and he was taking a lot of them in overtime when they needed him the most to be something, and he wasn't. Zach, he was missing left, right, everywhere. Oh, and by the way, Zach, he had a chance to win in regulation and miss a game-winning free throw. I just want to let you know that. And then the next game, right? You go to the next game. He goes 1 for 8 from 3, and then last night he goes 1 from 6. Zach, that's 5 for 29 on threes in the last 4 games. Zach. Then you have a plus minus. Go back to the Miami. He had a plus minus of 11. Then he had a plus minus of -7, a plus minus of 3, and a plus minus of -20. And that's your MVP, ladies and gentlemen. That's your so-called.
I don't think.
Wait a minute, Zach. Hold on. Wait a minute.
I'm agreeing with you. I think Joel Embiid is a Sixers fan, biased, yes, but I think that right now Joel Embiid is this week coming out of the key MVP ladder. If he has a good night tonight, he will be leading the MVP race, which is a Sixers fan is great to hear.
And then, Zach, let's talk about your so-called Kings turnovers. He had 5 versus Miami, 3, which is not that big of a deal. 3, but it's plus minus, like I said, was -7. 8 versus he had 8 to one night versus, and then Zach, then he had 3 last night, but the effort was not there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your king. That's your king right there. That ain't mine. That's not my king. That's not MVP worthy, and that's sure as heck nowhere near Jordan worthy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's LaFraud at his best, everybody. LaFraud in the last 4 games. Now, in all fairness, you could say he's playing with absolute bums around him, but last time I checked, Montrezl Harrell is a 6th man. Marcus Gasol should give you something, and Kyle Kuzma, right? You paid him $84 million, right? You gave him ascension, right, this summer, or just whatever you want to call it.
I'm not the Bus family. I'm sorry.
With Zach, I mean, you do got purple and gold pom poms. I know you be waving them. But Zach, my question for you is: Anthony Davis is 6'11". And the Achilles injury, we saw it with Kevin Durant. What happens when you rush him back? You tear your Achilles.
You do not want to. I mean, if they can hold the top 4 seed, which they will, they'll turn it around. They'll figure out what to do. But until then, I think that you don't want to mess with Anthony Davis's injury because it looks bad now. You want to have him for the playoffs. It can get ugly going into the All-Star break. I would rest him and be smart with him.
But ladies and gentlemen, I just want to point out to this. We know who is the real who needs who on that team. And LeBron James needs Anthony Davis. And Zach, my final remark is this. They're a bottom 5 team in the West. Not bottom 5 like Minnesota, but they're not a top 5 team in the West.
They learn how to win some games. I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue. Look, commercial break right now on TNT, but when it comes back, we're sending it down to the floor. Marv Albert and Greg Anthony on the call, of course. Charles Barkley, Shaq, Ernie Johnson. A whole crew is going to be in there tonight. We'll hand it off to them. We'll let them take it from there. But with that being said, Gavin, everybody, thank you so much for watching us here today on Sixers Pregame Live. A lot more where this is coming from. We hope you continue to enjoy our content. Enjoy the game. Let's go Sixers.
Good, everybody. And Tiger Woods video tomorrow, everybody. Check it out.
Yes, everybody stay tuned. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a good one. LeBron's garbage.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos. Again, thanks